Back to Afia TV News today, the discussion segment. And as we go on now, Enugu State has come a long way with its checkered history. But there are people who also have made their mark in shaping Enugu State to what it is. The Onyamanekes, the Onyamas. And of course, you know that there are very many sons and daughters who come from the enclave, now broadly identified as the Agbaja land. Who are they and what do they do? And how have they contributed in shaping the fate and progress of Enugu State? Joining me today on the news is the Chairman Planning Committee of the Agbaja Summit 2025, and of course, member of the Agbaja Leaders of Thought, Professor Chike Anibeze. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for joining.
Good afternoon.
And also in the studio with us is Dr. Ferdinand Anikwe. Dr. Ferdinand Anikwe is a former director of CEBAC. CEBAC was positioned in Addis Ababa.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
Thank you so much, sir, for coming on the program. I'll start with you, Professor Anibeze. The Agbaja people are very, very visible in Enugu State. I only managed to mention one name because I had all of them in my head at the same time. The Oyamas and of course the very great names, the Onors. You have the list. So why at this time that you want to have more visibility, you want to bring your people together? And how have you also proven yourself within the Enugu space?
Okay, thank you very much, Alex. Actually, the Agbaja people, just like you said, they have come a long way. And of course, it's not as if we are just trying for now to just bring them together. They have always been together, and then they have contributed immensely to all the affairs of, in fact, the Wawa people, not just Enugu State. Because when we talk about Agbaja, we recall that earlier, people like Onyamaneke, they started the fight, okay, for the liberation of the Wawa people. We recall very easily exactly what happened in the 20s, when, of course, he visibly challenged the seat of the Obiokos furniture when they were in Enugu, insisting that this is his seat. And actually, eventually he succeeded, and that established him as actually the so-called leader of the Wawa people. And of course, the Wawa as a term emanated from him because he was trying to indicate and insist that there is no way that seat should be given to any other person. And he is the rightful person to take the seat.
So it was an expression of defiance.
Yes, it was exactly. One, which is not, but Wawa is like never. So that is just, and from there, that particular expression came about. And that is when the consciousness within the Wawa community started, really. They had the improvement union, which was, and then if you go down to education, you will see that he was responsible for bringing in a lot of enlightenment in education within the Wawa and enclave, and by extension, all other people.
Thank you so much. Dr. Ferdinand Anikwe, just give us a little bit of a historical perspective on how far the Agbaja man has come in terms of how he has fared within this space and beyond, because some people don't quite know that it exceeds the enclave of Enugu State.
Let's get down to what we used to be before the arrival of the white man. The pre-colonial social anthropology of the Agbaja people had shown some norms and ethos that guided the behavior and cohesion of all of our people. And there had been all kinds of linkages, bonds, that proved that we would be together. So historically, our people had been living together, having the sense of we feeling. And those are the things we want to harness today. The unbridled individualism brought about by capitalism has made many people to chart their ways in different directions. But today, because we are aware of our history, we are aware of the living together, the way our people moved, the way of life of our people. We now said we will return to that and build our people the way we used to be, and then let the younger ones understand, the contemporary generation should understand what it used to be. Because we have been one group, one people, one destiny, one movement, and we withheld all the challenges of colonialism. Have you not heard about daybreak in Uti? When our people came out in their numbers and constructed all the roads, the linkages, you needed to visit Agbaja land, and you see that you link one community to the other. And our people did it in unison, in collaborations, in communal understanding. And to that extent, we were able to, brace the trail in some other things. For instance, the first cooperative shop in the whole of Eastern region was at Agbaja, that is Imeziowa. Agbaja meaning from where we left, because Agbaja had been a collective name for all of us. So we want to show our people that it has always been, but this time it can be better by the use of digital arrangement, ICT, contemporary technological appliances, and social connections all over the world. So Agbaja had been, Agbaja was, Agbaja is still here, and Agbaja is futuristic. We are ready to show the world what to...
All right, Prof, thank you so much, Dr. Anikwe. Professor Anibeze,
Yes.
Do you really need a summit in November to galvanize your people? I mean, isn't this supposed to be a clarion call that should be self-driven, that every Agbaja man ought to know what to do? Why do you need a summit to really galvanize your people and bring to the fore all those things you intend for them to join hands in?
Well, in any entity, you always need a rallying point in order to galvanize them and have a focus. So individually, the Agbajas, they have been doing a lot on their own. And we needed to show some kind of direction. And that's exactly what the Agbaja leaders of thought, have in mind in order to bring out the summit. The first summit actually took place in 2022 after a lengthy discourse on what. And then, of course, it zeroed down on investment potentials in Agbaja land, which was anchored by Reverend Dr. Ugochime. And then, of course, we had a cultural day because to showcase our culture. It's a 2-day event. Now, from there, of course, we were able to identify some of the gaps existing in the developmental pattern of the Agbaja land. And there was a kind of post-summit activity. You see, the Agbaja leaders of thought is not a government of its own. No. It is just a kind of socio-cultural organization. Okay? So what they do is to identify specific gaps within the community and then sensitize people from the same area in order to fill those gaps. I'll give you a typical example. It was in the course of the educational committee going around commissioning projects which some Agbaja people did in their own various communities, Umabe, in Udi, in Ezeago, and so on and so forth. They will give us a kind of invitation, we go there. In the process, we now discovered a number of things concerning even the pupils, some of them who were not wearing sandals or anything, without bags, to go to school. We felt that this cannot be in this particular century. And then we came up with what we call the Agbaja Declaration, which is that no pupil from Agbaja land will go to school without at least 2 basic things, the footwear and then the backpack or a bag of some sort. So it became a declaration and we followed it up. What happens is that you go to a community, for instance, if you come to my community, it was after that declaration that I now told the elites within our setup, this is what others are doing. They initiated their own, and then people were putting in money into there. Some will buy actually those, and then all the pupils are well accommodated. So this is the kind of intervention that we do. And then in the process of doing it, the summit, apart from, because it's a 2-day event, apart from now the first day, which will anchor on some kind of colloquium and so on, discourse on specific activities, the one for the past one was investment potentials. This time around, based on the yawning gaps we saw in the various communities, we felt that skill acquisition is becoming a problem. And then not necessarily ordinary skill acquisition, but practicalized skill acquisition that will enable people to function without government. So that's why this one has now dovetailed into the theme of skill acquisition, education and skill acquisition.
Great. Yeah. All right, great. So you can't talk about the Agbaja man without talking about the history and creation of Enugu State. Dr. Anikwe, Enugu State will be 34 on the 27th of August. So just help us in 1 or 2 minutes, put it in perspective, the role played by the Agbaja man or the Agbaja people in the creation of Enugu State.
Well, thank you very much. There is a thing we say in our place that that is to say, you don't engage in self-praise. But I can tell you that from history, the people of Agbaja have been in the forefront of breaking throughs, being innovative, creating new areas, and of course, protecting our people. We will be overflogging it if we want to tell you about what the Onos, the Odenigwes, NHOs, and all those people, Anagolo Mobo, and all that, what they did, at least in the creation of Enugu State. But let us just say that ordinarily, the Agbaja man has the affluent philosophy. When we say motion, it means we look for the biggest. And to that extent, our people have always come together to work together and go for the best. And it reflects in every part of our culture, including our masquerades. If you listen to what we call philosophical masquerades, they are called the legislative group. Iyabok, Abara, Okochina Tangene. And then what we call Ubutoga, Raishina Sato for the Oge zone, Okochina Tangene, and Okaba Wawa. Then, when I talked about Abara, it's before Amokwe. And then, of course, Iyabok is there for the youth zone. And I want to tell you the Odoma Ganawa Giji, we this one is so mystical, so philosophical, but wonderful in terms of exquisite presentation. If you watch the Odo, you will think the world has come to an end. Very fantastic, amazing. But inside the Odo, there are many things apart from the mystical powers. The Odo Magana, what we call as Odo, comes up with beautiful theories about the whole universe. And when we begin to sing, these masquerades, their songs, mean a lot of things in our philosophy on a daily basis. For instance, we have executive masquerades represented in Ega. During the daybreak in Udi, you hear bam, 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 and abala gamba. And this young man would fell all the trees, prepare the roads from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. because this music is going on, because the masquerade is there, because the youthful exuberance is shown. They are working throughout the night. And I can tell you, till tomorrow, we want to instill that kind of emotional balance, that kind of inspiration, that kind of coming together of our people. And we do it and face it anywhere all over the world.
All right.
Our people have always succeeded. We are saying there must be a linkage from the rural to the urban. And using our elites, many of them broke throughs in the academic research, including the man sitting here. You know, Professor Chinedu.
That's correct.
Many things we've done, and if the companies pay them for what they have done, we become billionaires. But in academics, you find something and the company gives you a pittance, and you are happy because you are aspiring to show the world what you are and not to make the money.
All right.
What have we not had in Abada? Do we continue?
No, okay, but I need to ask you a question. I'm only burst into singing Ninja Doto no Yakun because when you started all this. So, but let me ask Professor Anibeze, because he mentioned the youths, which is very, very key to whatever you're doing. How is it? Because the theme has to do with skill acquisition. You have a special program where you actually get the youths on board, or are they on their own? Because the age and time we are now is very interesting. the youth seem to have their own agenda, while their parents have theirs. So is there a point of harmony?
Yes. Actually, there's a point of harmony. You have touched on a point that I like very well. As a teacher in the university, I am used to having the youths, and I know their limitations and how you need to engage them because of the actual, zeal in them to do things. When you don't galvanize them rightly, they are likely to move the wrong way. So right from the first summit, we have always had a special attachment to the youth. In this particular one that is coming up, yes. And so within Agbaja, you know that the man handling the issue of scale and youth, is the Afia. He's part of it. And then we are going to have a special session for them. This time around, we are trying to do it not just the kind of lecture, didactic thing we do in the university. There is a situation where it is hands-on. You practicalize what they do. And of course, we know that Dr. Ugochime has been in the vanguard of things concerning this scale acquisition. He has given us a blueprint as a national document, which they have prepared. And if you look into that, you will now see how it links up with His Excellency, the Governor of Enugu State, Peter Mbah, when he talks about experiential learning. Now, experiential learning simply means learning in such a way that you combine it with hands-on activities. Let what you do exactly showcase the knowledge that you have. So this is the kind of thing we are talking about. If you notice, within our own enclave in Enugu State, and even elsewhere in the Southeast, you will discover that some of these, like even, laying of tiles, doing all sorts of things, basic things, we are gradually seeding it. People from Togo and so on will come and do it. We want to bring them back to the experiential type of learning in education. And that is, if you come, the centers are opening.
That's right.
We want to use our own hall within 9th Mile. 9th Mile is the entity where, of course, with the free trade zone and so on. Scale acquisition is embedded in the blueprint.
Unfortunately, we're out of time, but we'll have another session where we'll expand on all of this. I have to thank you so much for coming on the news today. Professor Chike Anibeze is the Chairman Planning Committee at the Agbaja Summit 2025. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
He's also and of course we have Dr. Ferdinand Anikwe. Dr. Ferdinand Anikwe is former Director of CEBAC, centered in Addis Ababa. Thank you so much for gracing our studios this afternoon. Thank you for staying with us on the news today. Do follow us on all social media platforms at Afia TV Official. My name is Alex Obodo. Good afternoon, and thank you for watching.